much.
Thank you. Yeah. Coming up here from Dorchester, Iowa. It's a culture shock to be up here with. I stayed with my son last night. He's out in St. Louis Park. Came in 394 and down 100. And man, cars like this, and in Decorah, and we just follow the tractors and the combines, and so man, I was like, whoa, I better wake up here, get with the flow. Of course, that's kind of, hi, Steve. Norm, greetings. You sitting over there. Anyway, that's our challenge, really, is to get with the flow, wherever we are, and as we all know, it's not always an easy thing, with, just in our daily lives, not to mention, the bigger picture, of life and death. So, so this chapter that I'd like to talk about in the book that Steve edited, Returning His Silence. This is from Katagiri Roshi. Is a chapter called The Source of Existence. And I'd just like to mention just a word by way of general introduction about Katagiri Roshi. So, most of you have seen at least picture, maybe if you're new, you haven't seen a picture of him. But he's considered one of the three major lineages here in North America, which is, he started in California, but then came to Minneapolis in 1973, 72 maybe. Anyway, this November, they're celebrating the 100th anniversary of Soto Zen, which is the lineage that Katagiri Roshi was in, here in North America. So it's been 100 years now that the transmission of Zen has been in this country, and that ceremony is out in California at the first temple where the first Japanese monk came to minister to Japanese congregation out there. So they're having this, big celebration, November 13th. I go out for that. But Katagiri Roshi, when he talked, it wasn't just good psychological principles, like, well, just, good, if you can't fix it, try something else, or work on it, or be patient, or, we should be mindful and be tuned in, those are all true, but there are a lot of, places where you can hear all that, But Zen Buddhism was really transmitting the Buddhist teaching. And so this chapter is like, what was the Buddha's teaching about? Different than just good psychology or good principles for living, or, doing yoga, or, or taking care of your health and body, and have a good life, So that is kind of what we're about here, is like, what was the Buddhist teaching, and what does it have to do, with our everyday life. Otherwise, it's just some theory or some historical study, that you can kind of do if you poke your head into all the history of Buddhism, But I think this chapter, as many of these here, Katagiri Roshi was really into transmitting the roots of the teaching that came through, generations in India and in our lineages, it came through. Some of it went into Tibet, and that, we know that's Tibetan Buddhism, but another whole mainstream came in through mainland China, and it was called Chan at that time. Okay, so we all, if you're new, you might, and then it came to Japan through a monk named Dogen in 13th century. And then 100 years ago, it came to this country. So that is like, it's not just a new age thing that popped up, on Page Street in San Francisco and, and Haight-Ashbury, and when everybody in my generation was kind of like, whoa, let's get enlightened. Yeah. Are there shortcuts? Yeah, just take a little of this and a little of that, so. Yeah, but that goes so far, because what goes up comes down. And then you're face to face with real reality. Yeah. So what we're dealing with here is not some high in the sky teachings. We're talking about enlightenment. It has to do with your daily life and my daily life. Like the Buddhist teachings fundamentally we're addressing the sufferings of human beings on this planet, and that includes physical sufferings, taking care of your body and welfare and things like that, but also our mental suffering. And how do you deal with old age, sickness, and death, ultimately? So we're all on that boat, so to speak. So, so that, Katagiri Roshi, this, I think tried to bring the kind of awareness that the Buddha had through his own life of experimentation. I mean, he was an ascetic for a while. He's going to purge himself of everything, and you see pictures of him looking like some of the ghostly skeletons that we see on people's lawns in Minneapolis, Halloween, I'm talking about that. There's some really far out lawns I saw just in a day here. Anyway, so the Buddha, he was, he did his own explorations, but, what was the Buddha's enlightenment about? And what does it have to do with everyday life? So this chapter, I recommend you kind of taking a look at, Steve edited these lectures. All those lectures Katagiri Roshi gave were recorded. It's about the source of existence, like looking at life. We're here, but when they talk about the source of existence, we're talking something about more than deep space, and galaxies. And Steve could help me with this, and how many eons and eons, and was there a beginning or no beginning? They asked the Buddha that, and the Buddha says neither beginning nor no beginning. He didn't kind of go there, but anyway, Katagiri Roshi says, if you think the source of existence is out there someplace, and you are here and talking about it, or even kind of looking for it through a microscope, or no, what are those called? Telescopes. Okay. You know, that he says, if you think, you know, you're looking, the source of existence is over there and you are here. This is dualistic thinking. Dualistic because there's a me thinking about the source of existence or exploring it. But the source of existence, you know, is me. It's not something out there. It's dualistic because I'm creating a me that's separate from what's out there. So what this basic teaching is, you know, we are, I mean, this source of existence is everything. So that everything is, when we kind of say, you know, I like this or I don't like this, in a way, we're creating a gap. Listen to what Katagiri Roshi says here. He says, the source of existence is not a thing like out there. Although and then he says, although you are never apart from it, if you say, I am one with the source of existence, there's a gap there. The gap is, you know, there's a you that think you are separate from the source of existence. So we want things to go our own way. You know, we have our idea about how things should go. And we suffer when things do not go our way. I suffer when I'm out of my kind of natural, slow-moving environment and come up, you know, with space-age technology all around me. You know, I suffer with my cell phone even because there's no reception where I am, you know. But, you know, we all suffer when things don't go our way. But that is dualistic, you know, like life has its own rhythm. It's got its own pulse. The issue is, you know, we are that. Can I kind of let go of my take on it and just take care of the moment that is? That quality is being alive, we say, in suchness. What is suchness? Well, we say suchness is everything. It's everything. All right. But there's always a me looking at suchness. So he says, Dogen, the monk who transmitted from China to Japan, he says fundamentally, there's no gap between suchness and you. Get with where things are. Your take on things is always my take or your take on things. It's real. We don't want to cross boundaries and get into each other's space. But actually, how do we live with things as they are? You know, how do we negotiate that? How do we be with quote, quote, difficult people or people who think or, you know, are different from us? How do we work with life as it is? It's like there's one existence, which is interwoven, interpenetrated. This is, you know, suchness. So Dogen says, if you want to attain suchness, then be suchness without delay. So what is be suchness? That quality is non-thinking. That quality is shut up and take care of where things are. Your baby's crying, you know, so that baby needs something. Be there. Get with what is. Do you tune in not just to your babies. Do you tune in to your cat or your dog, or you just kind of, tolerate them, They're human, they're beings too, they're not human, but they are, I've got a cat named Charlie, and you have to learn how to, speak Cantonese. He speaks Cantonese to me. Well, I had a hard time learning Japanese, but even that is like rough. But I'm studying Cantonese these days, and he'll talk to you, and you gotta get with what is he saying. But I just mostly ignore him, and then he really goes after me and tries to get my attention. This is a little digression, but excuse me. Okay, so category, then he goes on, he says, you try to know the total picture of human life, but he says, your knowledge is small. Like, we try to wrap ourselves around the whole thing, but it's always from our own perspective again. Like, this doesn't fit me. There's a lot of situations that don't fit us. But, we're all caught in situations that don't fit us sometimes. It might be listening to this lecture, or it might be the Zazen or your expectations of what you're going to get if you come to a Dharma Field Zen Center. So that's good. We all have expectations. But, expectations are, like our take on things again. What is practice? Practice, we say Zen practice. It's to sit up in life as it is. Can you be with what is? Some things fit for you, some things don't. Well, that's cool. But sometimes you're just caught in those situations. So can you be there? And can you be, in my case, with old age, older age? I don't like that label, old age, but sometimes it's a good label. Anyway, he says, you try to know the total picture of human life, but your knowledge is very small. How can the huge universe fit into your small world? It's impossible. Instead, why don't you fit your small world into the huge universe? That is non-thinking. That is getting with where things are. And Dogen says, if the least like or dislike arises, mind is lost in confusion. In the Fukanza Zengi, which is kind of a little verse that describes the core of the Buddha's teaching, which is Zazen, that is all there. So in monastery, that's every night we read Fukanza Zengi. So that's the universal recommendation for Zazen. And it's not just mindfulness, to get focused. Zazen is to bring yourself to moment. That's beyond your thinking. That's why Dogen says the core of Zazen is non-thinking. That can be misunderstood. Non-thinking is not just going blank. Non-thinking is be upright, be there, be with this moment. That quality is beyond thinking. Get with what is. And the punchline here is not just on your cushion or on your chair at Dharma Field Zen Center. It's your everyday life. Be upright, be there, bring yourself to your life, open your eyes. Monk should have, we are all called to be monks of the universe. It's not this Steve, Norm, me, Steve two, excuse me, Steve, are you Steve 1 and Steve 2? No, no, let's not go there. But it's that quality of really be alive in your life. Katagiri Roshi says, when it's time to get up, get up. When it's time to eat your breakfast, eat your breakfast. When it's time to, wash your dishes, wash your dishes. Tune in to what's what and be there. Take care of suchness that's manifesting itself on a day-to-day basis. The whole universe is right under our feet. So take care of what's under your feet. In Zazen, it's to sit up there, be alive in moment, not spaced out, not dropping your back and, and then our thoughts, my thoughts, run, I can figure out my whole trip, or I can figure out, where I'm going this weekend, or, and the Zazen's over before you know it, well, where were you? You're off in your own world, so to speak. So the idea is, can we get with being here? So that takes a little kind of sometime, a little tap on our side of our face and say, hey, wake up, get with what is. That is the practice. So that's why Zazen is a core of the practice, because it's just that moment. And so Katagiri says, it's like putting your basket in the water. That metaphor, you can put a basket in the water, but you can't lift any water out. So how about just put your whole basket in the water? That is to say, you are the basket. We can't just make life come our way. It's trying to get a basket to make life go my way, and then I'll be happy. Well, on the surface, it's great, but that water goes through the basket pretty fast, and then we're frustrated. Things are too busy, or too slow, or I'm getting too old, or I'm too young, or it's a constant. The issue is, can I be where we are? Katagiri Roshi says, he says, you have to take care of moment. I'll read this whole thing, but he says, with stability and majesty. So it's very nice words, like, can we take care of our life with stability and majesty? What is majesty? Majesty is to have a broad mind. Majesty is to take care of where things are. Majesty, is to have parental mind, we say. That is to tune in to how I can be helpful on a day-to-day basis. With my cat, with my apartment, with my society, with global climate disaster happening around us. All that that's where we are. How do we stand up here? Get with moment on a day-to-day basis. Take care of your health. That's moment. Take care of, your livelihood at some level. You don't have to have, 3 yachts, to be okay. How about a canoe? Well, maybe you don't have a canoe either. Well, but you're living in Minnesota. You should have a canoe. Anyway. All right. So, I'll just read this paragraph here. Katagiri Roshi says, beyond what your senses reveal, your life is intimately connected with all sentient beings. From moment to moment, you live at the source of existence. But don't be hasty. Make each step stable, because whatever you do occurs within this larger truth. Within Dharma, you should walk the best you can. You have to take care of this moment with stability and majesty. And then finally, he says, the source of existence will penetrate you like the wetness that soaks your dress when you walk in the mist. So you say, if I'm not attaining, if I'm not trying to kind of engineer everything, yeah, we should have a plan. We should move, with some sense of direction, or whatever, but, but life is what it is. So can I get with that? So that's like walking in the mist, there's a sense in that, a little more of a peace that, we get soaked with the universe, and we can go to bed at night and sleep because, I'm just there. We do what we can for all beings. That's the vow. I vow to save all beings. We say it every morning in the dedication of the chants. I vow to save all beings. Do that on a day-to-day basis. It includes yourself, it includes others, it includes your animals, it includes the environment. Can I be monk of the universe? We have to open our eyes to be monk of the universe. That quality is also, open your eyes is like, be tuned in. So those are just discussion about what is Zen, and if it's just to try, I sit because I like, to get settled. I kind of like the feeling. I kind of like getting my life organized. Those are all good, that all happens. They put monitors on your head and, oh yeah, look how you can settle down, My first 40 minutes sitting, I was in a swirl with things were not going my way, and I was tossed. But that last few minutes of that period, I had just got there and had this straight on conversation with myself. This is where it's at. Take care of where things are. It's like a turning moment there, I felt. That happened at the Minnesota Zen Center, my first sitting. I wasn't looking for Buddhism. I wasn't looking for some religion, I came from a whole religious background that I kind of needed to take the collar off and just let myself roam and become a secular person. That's where divinity was. That's kind of my thinking was moving in that direction, but still it was on my terms. And I didn't have my eyes open to the full suchness of things. And then the bottom drops out of that. There's human suffering. So that's what the Buddha's teaching was about. Sit up with where things are. Open your eyes. Bring yourself to life. So I think that teaching is, all here. So there's one other, okay. This is the conclusion. So this conversation we're having this morning, is sort of my attempt at sharing Buddha Dharma. Like what is the Buddha's life about that was transmitted, for centuries, through human history, through India, through China, through Japan, and now, to this country. He says, Bodhidharma works every day. He says, and then there's this metaphor. He says, the great sky doesn't bother the function of the white cloud. It's the kind of end of a koan, and that's the punchline. It says, the great sky doesn't bother the function of the white cloud. So that is everything. The great, is happening. It's the white cloud is the great sky. It doesn't bother the white cloud because it already is the white sky. We are ultimate universe. So everything is ultimate universe. So how do I merge with it? And there's not a me merging with it. It's like, be alive in suchness. How is that? Let's get beyond our thinking and save all beings. Like, not carelessly, not off with on a white horse someplace, but be alive in suchness, in day-to-dayness, in 24-hour zazen. So that was a whole fascicle written after Dogen about 24 hours zazen. And anyway, here we are. Giving a talk is part of the 24-hour zazen. So I just tried to merge with it. So you get what you got. And let's have a great day. Anyway, we got a few minutes. So how's life going with you all? And anybody want to just shed a little light to this darkness here, so to speak? Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
So, you recite the kinds of things on Friday night meditation during the last 10 minutes of sit.
Yeah.
And we recited it this past 2 days ago, this past Friday night.
Yeah.
So Dogen says, once you have adjusted to the posture, take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, rock your body right and left, and settle into a steady and mobile sitting position. Think nice right in, think not thinking.
Right.
How do you think not thinking, non-thinking? So this was the first Friday when I decided it, when I didn't feel this twinge or thrill of anxiety when I said, how do you think not thinking, non-thinking?
Yeah.
So I want to thank you because it helped also.
Yeah. 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 Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the core. Yeah, he said, Dogen says, this is the essential nature of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But it's not just here, it's in the vastness of universe that you are sitting, in a sense. That's non-thinking. It's like getting our own, measuring it. That's dualistic thinking, which we all do. We're always measuring. How much am I getting out of this? How far do we have to go? But still, all that's way beyond our control sometimes. But yeah, anyway, thank you. Got it. Thanks for sharing that. That's what we're talking about. Yep. How about your front yard out here with all that concrete? Starting a gravel business or what? Fundraising getting a little short? You go out and beat those rocks and, there's more than one way to skin a cat. No, let's not use that metaphor. Yeah, anyway.
It's a teaching because there's really no way to get into the building right now. And yet Here we are, instead of building.
Right, exactly. Very cool. How do you live with what is? You know, find a different way. It's not on our terms, it's on universe terms. That quality saves you a lot of headaches. And you might even be able to get things done if you're not, you know, browbeating those guys out there or gals, you know, I mean, you know, they might even become buddies and, you know, and maybe do a really nice job. Maybe they do a really nice job anyway, but excuse me. Okay. Any other? That's it on. How about, you have any comments? All right. You always sit quiet over there. Very cool. So this is our kind of yearly opportunity, Stephen, Norm and I. We just kind of get together because we shared that time with Category Roshi. So we get together for lunch afterwards. So they have me hooked, you know, to come up at least once a year because it's a free lunch on my side. Usually, I don't want to assume here. Anyway, it's a treat to come, and thank you. You helped me. I hope I help you a little too. Arigato.